Hey everyone, I'm making another review of Morgan that's completely a full discussion of the movie because when I was in front of the Tinseltown 17 Theater here in Georgia, yeah, and making the vlog, there were a couple of teenage girls that were watching, and because it was dark and where they were positioned, it was distracting for me to make the vlog while they were staring. And when I finished, one of the girls, who must have been all of maybe 15 or 16, it seems like, said, what movie is that? And I said, it's called Morgan. It's inside. She goes, I said, you should see it. She goes, oh, I saw it. And, and can you explain it to me? I said, yeah, but you saw it, right? It was a very confusing exchange. And so I just went to the car. But that was the reason why, if you look at my vlog, I am looking sometimes off to the right, sometimes straight ahead, not really at you, kind of around because I'm not sure what's going on with them because they appeared midway, actually, I say about maybe one quarter of the way after the vlog started, after I started making the vlog, and I was concentrating on what I was going to say, and I didn't want to take time looking at them. Yeah, it's dark outside. I don't know what's going on. So now I can talk about the movie before I lose my train of thought regarding it. I loved it. And what it's about is Morgan is based on a script by Seth Owen, I've talked about before, which was written and submitted to something called the Blacklist. The Blacklist is a kind of a database of what a group of people, could be you or me, anyone that participates in this crowdsourced club, thinks are the best screenplays. This one was a hit. It just resumed right to the top. And it did so in 2014. It was so popular that it was optioned for a movie, which became this Luke Scott directed movie by Fox. And you say, Luke Scott, who's that? He is the son of Ridley Scott, the famous director and producer of such movies as Prometheus and Alien. But this, while it's billed as a sci-fi horror movie, to me it wasn't horror. It was a thriller, and it stars Kate Mara as a corporate efficiency worker who is driving into. Actually, she's driving up to this compound far off in this remote place. The implication is that it's somewhere beyond the East Bay because you see her crossing what seems to be the eastern span of the Bay Bridge in Oakland. And eventually she gets to this wooded area and what looks like this old Tudor style home. But and there's obvious that their car is there and it's inhabited, even though the people may not be on the main floor. They're actually downstairs. So she goes in, and all of her interactions with the people are in such a way that she being Kate Mara, seems stilted. And you're probably going to think, well, why is she acting like such a cold bitch? What's going on with her? There's a reason for that. She eventually meets Morgan, but and what Morgan is a girl played by Anya Taylor Joy, expertly played by Anya Taylor Joy, who is in and The Witches, excuse me, and Morgan is a synthetic being of a sort. I hesitate to say synthetic being. I'm using their parlance. It is a grafted human. And what I mean by that is this baby that was born was the result of synthetic DNA grafted onto the DNA of a human, and in such a way that this synthetic, I mean nano created DNA, um, what it did was it caused the being to grow faster in many different ways, from body to brain. But the trouble is that its reasoning power wasn't developed properly. Its ability to emote was a little screwed up. And Morgan, having said all that, was far more advanced than the other versions that failed for various reasons. Either came out deformed, or maybe their brain didn't come in right, something. But this one, Morgan, seemed to be the right one, and Morgan quickly bonded with the people who basically did give birth to her, including this woman, Asian woman, Chinese woman, who was, for all practical purposes, Morgan's mother. At least Morgan identified her as such. And the movie opens with Morgan being fed and quieted and comforted, not physically, but just at a distance, by a woman named Anne and Amy, excuse me. And Morgan has a way of turning her palms upside up, down, and up and down when she's annoyed. And she does this, and all of a sudden, as Amy's trying to get Morgan to eat, Morgan takes the fork and stabs it in her eye, and we see this from above, and it's all rapid, quick motions. And this guy Darren comes in and with a tranquilizer gun shoots Morgan, and so Morgan, after that episode, doesn't go out anymore, because what happens is when she did go out, she also was trying to befriend this deer, and in the middle of comforting the deer, she just snapped and choked the deer to death. Morgan, aside from her rapid physical development, is also superhumanly strong. And so this comes out when she's trying to subdue someone for whatever reason that's going on up here. At any rate, what happens is that the first part of the movie is slow, and a number of people have described it as slow. Yeah, it is slow. In fact, a couple of times, because I went to the gym first, I dozed off for a little bit, but I forced myself to stay awake. And you've got to do that, because we're in a society now where you expect action, you get a lot of action, we're overstimulated. This movie will quail you a little bit. You got to stay with it. And I beg of you to do so, because you will be rewarded for paying attention and absorbing the story. It, for me, gets really interesting when as Kate is interacting with the researchers and professors, the people who comprise what really becomes or is or has been Morgan's family. It's interesting because Kate interacts with them, but you think this woman's an android. She's so stiff. She seems a little weird, and then she seems like she's interested in the cook that's there, and the cook is having a bourbon, and so goes over to kiss her, and she just kind of acts like she feels absolutely nothing. So you're thinking, oh, she's cold, lesbian, doesn't like guys. And it's got nothing to do with that at all. Eventually, what happens is that a very famous actor shows up in a cameo role, and he plays a psychiatrist. And this role is killer in more ways than one, because he acts like he's trying to do a psychological test with Morgan, and Morgan from the start is already suspicious of this fellow, doesn't like him. She's already glassy eyed and teary eyed. She is upset about what's going on. She doesn't know how to control what's happening to her. So she says she has been inside for long periods of time. She would like to see the outside. She doesn't know what's going on. She's asking a lot of questions. She's growing rapidly. She knows something is wrong. It's frustrating. So in the middle of this, here's this great actor, fellow the psychiatrist, who basically says to her, "Hey, do you realize that these people who you regard as your family and friends are actually trying to kill you or can kill you?" And that's when she snaps, when she's presented with the question by the psychiatrist, "Hey, you know what? What would you do to stay alive? Show it to me. Give me your emotions." And she gives him a lot more than that. She winds up basically eating out part of his neck, and the blood's like, yeah, okay. Ugh. So that when Kate Mara realizes what's going on, she gets a gun, tries to shoot her, and because Morgan is hooked into the light system with her brain, she could shut off the lights and turn on the infrareds and get out of her way. And so basically, Morgan escapes, and she gets the help of a woman by the name. I said the earlier woman that was stabbed her was Amy. That wasn't Amy. This woman's name was Anne. Amy is the other woman who goes off, Jennifer Jason Leigh, who goes off with her into the forest and is the only person that Morgan regards as her friend because she didn't try to kill her. But what happens at the end of the story is that it turns out that Kate Mara really is an android, really is a synthetic being. She is actually a different model of synthetic being that is, we find, more advanced than the model that Morgan is. And so she's basically sent to terminate Morgan. The implications for our future are really scary because we, with this movie and Ex Machina, and perhaps the others that I haven't seen or not aware of, are presented with constant views of how artificial intelligence will affect humankind. And my question is there someone today around the world somewhere messing with someone else, some to graft nanobots to them, make them, you would say, better, but are they really better? Or making androids? And I really believe that we have to have a set of laws that curb this kind of activity, because who does it really benefit? You know, why do this? Why bring a being into the world and then kill it? And then refer to it as an it rather than a she or he. These are very deep moral questions we need to answer now and not as we go along through this journey. I like Morgan a lot because it makes me think about those questions that I want to consider anyway. Just for the same reason I like that Ex Machina. Again, Kate Mara performance, fantastic. I said it before, I'll say it again. Anya Taylor-Joy, outstanding. I wanted to hug her, except that I felt like if I did, she'd kill me. See the movie, you'll get it. Kate Mara, I thought, God, what would it be like to really just try to date that android? Would she actually go for it? Could you find the right words to make her just say, okay, I'll go out with you? Look, I'm sorry. See the movie. You'll figure out what I mean. I loved it. I'm going to see it again.